How to understand return values from JavaScript promises. Imagine waiting for a package to arrive. You don't get the package immediately, but you know it's coming. In JavaScript, promises work the same way. They representing something that will happen in the future. When you use a promise, you're not getting the actual result right away. Instead, you get a promise object that will eventually hold the result or an error. The promise can be in one of three states: pending, fulfilled, or rejected. Pending means it's still on its way. Fulfilled means it arrived with the data you wanted. Rejected means something went wrong. The key to understanding return values from promises is knowing that you can't just grab the value directly like with regular functions. Instead, you handle the result once it's ready. The main way to do this is by attaching a then method to the promise. The then method takes a function as an argument. When the promise is fulfilled, this function runs and receives the result as its input. For example, if you fetch data from a server, you can write code like fetch URL, then response is equal to response.json. Here, the then gets the response, converts it to JSON, and then you can work with that data inside the next then. Inside a then callback, you can return a new value or even another promise. If you return a value, it gets passed to the next then in the chain. If you return a promise, the next then waits for that promise to resolve before running. This chaining makes it easy to perform multiple asynchronous steps in order. Sometimes you want to create a promise that is already resolved with a certain value. You can do this with Promise.resolve. If you pass a promise or a thenable object to Promise.resolve, it will wait for that promise to settle and then adopt its final value. This helps when you want to normalize different types of asynchronous results into a promise-based flow. When working with promises, always remember to handle errors with catch. This catches any rejected promises and prevents your code from breaking unexpectedly. If you're working with multiple promises, methods like Promise.all and Promise.all help you manage their return values collectively. Promise.all waits for all promises to succeed, while Promise.all waits for all to settle, regardless of success or failure. In summary, understanding return values from JavaScript promises means knowing that the actual data arrives asynchronously. You handle it with then or await inside an async function. Returning values or promises inside then helps you control the flow of asynchronous operations. Using promise utility methods makes managing multiple promises easier. Mastering these concepts allows you to write cleaner, more reliable asynchronous code in your web projects.